Come on in, come on in. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Happy Wednesday.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm super fantastic.
Where are you?
I'm actually back in Atlanta now.
Oh, okay. All right. We thought you was on the island somewhere.
I absolutely was. Nice and rest and relax. I'm a little darker. A little darker shade.
You got a little tan there?
I got a little tan.
Did you wear your sunscreen?
Yeah. I had some sunscreen, but I didn't care. I wanted to get darker. I say darker the berry, right?
Oh, sweeter the juice, right?
Absolutely.
Amen.
Actually, my father was part Mexican, so he used to live in Cancun before he passed away, and so he was very, very fair skinned. I got blue rings around my eyes like he does.
Do you?
And so, but I never learned the language like he got.
So we can't call you a native, huh?
No, you can't call me a native. But he told me I have some sisters running around there somewhere in Mexico.
Ooh.
He's a Rolling Stone for sure. He was never
Ooh.
married to my father, but my mother.
Well, we're glad you're back.
I am happy to be back. Actually, my last day yesterday was a beautiful day. So I was, had some contemplation. Should I go back or not? No, I got to go back and fulfill my responsibilities.
Well, we're glad you came back. We appreciate that.
Absolutely. So I responded to several people's homework that they sent me over the weekend. So some folks, if you hadn't got any feedback from me, double check your email or your junk file. Make sure that you don't miss my response and my feedback. And then I think I sent you some stuff too.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, you know how they join emails together now, so you have to.
Yeah, you have to scroll up a little bit to see.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't know how.
I don't either. I like a separate email, right?
Yep. Me too. Because sometimes
If
people.
I email you my question, if I email you my presentation, could you look over it? Because I've seen that your books is kind of like not working on my schedule.
Yeah, email it to me and I'll give you my feedback.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll be talking about, listen, I'm gonna try to remember that if you all want, just make sure that for your market day, you don't have any technical glitches. You can send us your presentation and we can convert it to Google Slides if you don't know how to do that. We don't want to be trying to do that on the day of your presentation and we don't have access to it or you don't know how to do it when it's your turn to present. So you really want to make sure that you either convert it, your PowerPoint, if you're using PowerPoint, convert it to a Google slide. So it's you can just easily share it. And you can also take a look at it and make sure that your slide presentation didn't change the formatting when you convert it to Google Slides. You can kind of do that early instead of the day of, But again, you can always send the PowerPoint to us and we can convert it, or you can send us the link to your Google slide. Make sure that we can have access to an event that you need us to share it. So always good to be prepared.
How do you convert it to Google Slides?
So you would click, or if you go into
from PowerPoint.
Yeah, if you open up your Google environment, there should be on the bottom, there should be like several icons that say Google Slides. So it might say Google Excel. Or let me see if I can double check what the environment says. Uh-oh. Well, so I can't do it on my phone. It's not letting me. So on the bottom, you might see some icons that say Google Slide. You would click on Google Slide, and there is another icon that might say upload. You want to upload your PowerPoint. So it will say, you click on upload, it will say browse. So you're gonna click on browse to find where your slide is. It might be on your once you find it, you click on it, and it downloads into the Google environment, and it changes your. It might change the formatting a little bit. So when you click on it, and you will see that it converts it on the address list. You will see the new address for your Google slide, your new Google slide, and you can just maybe put a click on it, maybe make it a star or something, so you always have that particular address. But that's the address you would send to us, and we can click on it. It may ask us to get permission to open it up, so it might send you a request from one of us to get permission to open it. But it's pretty easy.
Okay.
And the alternative, if you're like, hey, I'm spending 5-10 minutes on this thing and I still can't figure it out, just send us your PowerPoint and we'll do it.
Okay.
Right? Don't sweat and stress out over it. And that's just as a backup, right? That's a backup. All right, so it is 6:03. I'm going to go ahead and let's see if I have anybody else that. And Jamise, I know you're online. You're probably still driving. I have not seen KJ in a while. I'm not sure if he is still in the class and just reviewing the videos. But I did switch him and Sparkle for their presentation. So he's going to go on the 3rd and Sparkle is going to go on the 5th.
Yeah, I will give him a call to confirm. But yeah, I've been sending email, just checking in, and I have not heard back from him.
Yep. I think last I saw him, I think was week 2, I believe. So yeah, it's good to check. I mean, sometimes people they are busy and they say, hey, I can just review the recordings, and that will be that. But always like people to check in or at least send us a message. Like I think Renate sent you a message saying, hey, here's her conflict, and we were able to resolve that. As a matter of fact, I met with her.
That's weekly. Yeah, that's weekly. So she's been meeting with me weekly since the class started, but because she had a conflict on her dissertation. But with the other, I will circle back to confirm that he will more than likely be presenting. I'll let you know though.
Okay. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get started. 6:05. If you want to go ahead and do your announcements, and then I'll go ahead and start the presentation.
Thank you so very much. I'll be very brief. Good evening, everyone. I know folks will be filing in. I told them tonight they did not want to miss coming off a high on Monday night with our marketing, social media expert, and our financial guru. So I wanted to just remind you that if you did receive something from the Women's Business Center to sign off on, please do that via Adobe. That is verification, confirmation for the Urban League partnership, because when we have our consultations, like Stephen, with many of you and myself, with Renate, we have to get confirmation. So just if you see that in an email coming from the Women's Business Center, which is wbc@greaterwealthworks.org, please enable it. Last announcement, we are excited. This cohort is getting everything to announce that we did receive the opportunity grant with the Verizon Skills opportunity that we have, and there's a link, and it is a part of this course now, in that you only have to take one, but I will put it in a little later once we get more people in, and then definitely have it next week, where you would go in and find a plethora of courses to take, ranging from 10 minutes to 20 minutes, to really get you stronger in the skills to support your business. So just please stay engaged with us so that we can continue to leverage the partnerships we have, and of course support you so that you get the benefits to have your business grow and glow. Thank you, Coach. I appreciate the time.
Welcome. I tell you what, Greater Wealth Works continue to increase the community relationship building, and with that comes a lot of resources. In many cases, are free to each and every one of you, and it would really be a shame with how much they work to provide you these resources if they are not taken advantage of. So please, please, please look out for those emails, click on them, and make sure you also share them. Share them with those folks that are that you know that are currently in business or looking to be in business, so they can see the type of programming that Greater Wealth Works has. And by the way, Jamise, I attempted to sign in, and the resort for some reason would not give me access. I don't know why I couldn't get in. I was going to try to go off the resort, but in any event, I couldn't get in. And so I would like to know from those that were here on or were in the class on Monday, what was one thing you got out of the class? What was one thing that you walked away with, maybe an aha moment, something you newly learned, or something that you want to take advantage of? And I will go with Tiara, then Kimberly, and then Annette.
So I wasn't in class on Monday.
Okay, you didn't make it. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I didn't make it. I had a
Okay.
family emergency.
Okay, no worries. Make sure you-
Tiara, are you the one that put in the information about the Forbes opportunity? Did you want to share that publicly so we can hear it? I was trying to get to my chat box. Don't you have some great news to share with us?
Well, yes,
She might be speechless, but I think I just saw some exciting news in the chat box.
Oh, you're on mute, Tiara. We can't hear you.
Can you hear?
We can hear you. Yes. Yes.
So I'm currently in the Entrepreneur of Impact with Damon John. He's hosting this competition, and you get featured in Forbes magazine. You get a one-on-one business coaching from him as well, and then you have the possibility of winning $25,000. So I've made it through the top 25 out of 100, the top 15, the top 10, and now I'm in the top 5, and they're picking the winner tomorrow for the overall competition. So if you would like to vote, I put the link in the chat box. Vote for me if you would like to.
Okay,
Yay!
wait a minute. That's awesome. Wait a minute, Miss Tiara. Now, can you send that to WBC Greater Wealth Works on the Instagram so that we can so that I can put that on our Instagram? We want all of our platform communities to know about that. You are in the cohort. If you win, we win. So please make sure you do that so that we can tout you from every area. I'm so glad you brought that up, because otherwise I would not have known. That's big. So, and this is tomorrow, correct?
Yes, it ends tomorrow night. I think at like 7 Pacific Standard Time. It's not Eastern Time though. So I'm not sure what time that'll be our time.
Yes, 10 o'clock.
Okay.
It's 3
10
hours.
o'clock.
Yeah, they're 3 hours behind us. So.
Okay, so send me all the don't put all the details in the chat. Send that to WBC at Greater Wealth Works or Jamise at greaterwealthworks.org so we can elevate the community to support you. So exciting times for you and Greater Wealth Works.
That
Congratulations.
is exciting. Exciting. What I just did was I just took my camera and took a picture of what you have in the chat box. So in the event that you all can't quickly copy paste that or whatever, just take a quick picture of it and you all can then type it into your browser later and do the voting, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm voting for you and sending it out to my people to vote for you as well. Very, very exciting. Tiara.
Thank you so
very
much.
proud of you. You're very, very welcome. And we look, again, your win is also a part of our win, right? We want to be able to communicate to the world that you not only won, and we're putting that into existence, that you already won, and that really helps us to promote you and promote others to come in and maybe even be assisted in their future endeavors. So very, very good.
Thank you. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Kimberly, were you here on Monday? And if so, was there anything from Monday's presentation that you would like to share that kind of got an aha moment for you?
Hello, everybody. Happy Worship Wednesday. Yes, I was here, and I got a lot, but the one particular thing that I am going to have to work on is doing the separation of the bank business and the personal accounts. When he was saying that when you have them intertwined, that you can be, if somebody tries to sue you, that they can come for your personal gains as well. So that is one thing I have got to come up with in separating those, because I want to be able to offer all forms of payment so I don't have customers walking away. So I have to come up with a way I can get a cash app that's going to my business account, Zelle, Venmo, and all that stuff. So yeah, thank you.
Very good. That's really, really, obviously really important for those accounts to be separated. There's a lot of people who either don't know, don't think about it, or don't realize the complications, the complexities that one might go through with their taxes, or if someone was to get audited, or just putting those forms of income together, how that can really become confusing, and to your tax person who wants to help you get particular write-offs. So it's good that you took heed to that. So Annette, what did you learn that was an aha moment from Monday's presentation?
I learned that you can do ads on Facebook. I'm usually receiving notices, about this one's birthday, or someone posted this story, and clicking the link and go and seeing that information. But you can also utilize that tool for advertisements, right? So the other thing was, she talked about the different target groups for the different social media platforms. So that recording of that information, like women this age to that age, for this particular social media platform, TikTok, Facebook, all of these. So I think that was valuable information to help narrow down, who to target on different media platforms.
Very, very, very good. And I think Sparkle, you joined us as well. Hi, Sparkle. I got you slated for March 5th as you requested. We're asking everyone about what you may have learned that caused you to have an aha moment on Monday. I'm not sure if you were here on Monday, but if you were, is there anything that you took away from the presentation on Monday?
Hey, I'm driving if you can hear me, but I think it was just a nice refresher, both presentations. It was a nice refresher for me, just to kind of gain some insight as to how social media is used to, advertise. So it was just a nice refresher, and it was nice to know that when I am ready, I now have a company, that part of network. So that those two businesses are available should, I need them. So
very, very good. And I tell you, the one thing that's so great about technology, even us having this class online, is that it allows you as your business to have not only a local touch, but a global reach. Local touch and a global reach. And so you really want to make sure that you do learn the ins and outs and how your business can expand its touch, and to gain additional prospects, and of course, additional customers. So that is so great. I didn't get a chance to catch the Monday's presentation. As I mentioned, I tried to get into the class and I couldn't, but I do intend to review the presentation perhaps tomorrow. And if you haven't, I didn't send it out to everybody. I'm trusting maybe Jamise perhaps already sent it out to you all, the link to the presentation. And if not, okay, you haven't done that yet?
I have. I sent it out yesterday
great.
morning, and it has everything in it. All the things that we sent out, they got it already.
So majority of that, if not all of that, will not be necessary for your market day, but it's going to be extremely necessary for the post course as you start to really rev up understanding the tax implications of your business, as well as your marketing exposure utilizing social media. All right. So, all right, here we go. Get ready for today. Today is really going to be just talking about a quick review of the whole class. Before that, just how you might want to present yourself. Just a couple of tips for those that are not used to presenting. And for those that have, maybe there are a few aha moments you might get tonight from this overview. So let's see if it's starting up. Okay, there we go. All right, this is after I present at 6:45, around that point, you're going to hear from Warren Galloway, and today will be officially their last final presentation from our side, from the Greater Wealth Work side. Because on Monday and Wednesday of next week, it's going to be your turn to present to us, and we're excited for that. You're more likely than not going to have 2, maybe 3 guest judges, so to speak, or community business folks are going to come in and give you some tips. Janice is working on a few, and I'm working on a few from my fraternity that we've always supported you all and giving you guys some feedback. But this is week 5, end of week 5, session number 10. And again, we're going to be focusing on micro lending and funding resources at the end of my presentation. Again, you're going to hear from Warren Galloway. And so what this workshop will do for you, it's going to, again, teach you how to get business funding. What do you need to prepare yourself for business funding opportunities through micro lending and other funding resources that you're going to learn about. So put on your seatbelt. You're going to learn a lot. We're going to quickly do I'm going to tell you the market day lineup again, but that's going to be toward the end. We're going to again talk about a couple of things regarding your startup financial considerations, something that I would have went over last week, but I didn't have enough time, and I didn't want to squeeze it in at the end of one of the sessions. I didn't want to overdo it. So I decided that if I have time, I'm going to mention the last final thoughts that you want to have in terms of startup financial considerations. And I thought it was neat to do it in this class, since you will be talking about micro lending. Then we'll go on to your perfecting the pitch. No pitch is going to be perfect, but we always want to perfect our skill sets for every pitch going forward. So proper preparation planning provides premier performance. 6 P's. Some of you guys have heard it utilizing other P words, but today I decided to use this. Proper preparation and planning provides premier performance as it comes to talking about and conversating, not just pitching, but conversating about your business. So we're going to go into that. Then I'm going to quickly do a course review. And then I'm going to turn the mic over to Warren Galloway. Again, he's going to talk about micro lending and other financial resources. So expense estimates. One of the things that we talked about in session one, week 1, was your vision. And a part of your vision was how much money, maybe revenue, or how many locations, or how many unduplicated prospects or customers you want to have in the next 2 to 3 years. What a part of understanding how to get that number is understanding what expenses, what costs you're going to have in order to make money. Spend money to make money, right? And so determining your costs is going to be really important. These are the 4 areas that you are likely, not all of you, but many of you likely will have to determine areas in these 4 areas, financial expenses in these 4 areas. Startup costs. What are your startup costs? Some of you might have maintenance costs, meaning you've already started up, but you have to maintain. How are you going to determine those costs, particularly if you get into the point where you need to hire some help, whether it be independent contractors or employees? So startup costs is something you need to determine. And then after the startup costs, there will be monthly maintenance costs. What do you think they're going to be for now and maybe in the not too distant future, if you're going to be end up expanding out of your home or out of an incubator into a brick and mortar, what have you? So monthly maintenance costs is also something that you need to consider. At some point, there will be a personnel cost if you're looking to hire people to support you, whether it be, again, it's going to be independent contractors or employees. Right now is not necessarily who they are, but what positions do you think you're going to need, and what will be the cost of those positions? Meaning, what would you need to pay people? What's the going rate to get adequate talent for the positions and the tasks that you will need to be fulfilled? So that's going to be something that you need to consider. And then if there are any capital assets, do you need to buy a business vehicle? Do you need to buy business equipment? Do you need to buy a land and you know, maybe buy a building? You know, so what are the capital assets that you might need that are something that's going to be an asset? It's not necessarily going to be a depreciation. I mean, some assets are depreciating, or most of them are, but there are some scenarios where they're appreciating, like land. So what are they? What might they be? That's something for you to research. So as an example, here are some research costs. We have an Excel spreadsheet that I will show you and send to you that shows you some of these examples of things that you may need to consider after the class. Will you buy land? Yes or no? If so, what will be the startup cost for that? Many of you might be not applicable right at this point in time, but it's still something to think about. Do you plan on buying a building? Will you be renovating leased space? Right? You're going to get an approval for the space you want to lease, and you might have to renovate it, right? Maybe you have a long-term lease. What would be the cost of that? Are you buying or leasing equipment? Do you need to put fixtures up, signage, and different things like that in your location, and what the cost would be? Are you buying signage? Are you buying or leasing furniture? Do you need to buy or lease vehicles? So those are part of your startup costs, and in some cases, ongoing costs. Once again, personnel costs. What are the job functions or the job title? What are some of the responsibilities that these job titles might have? And what would you estimate the annual salaries from the first year? Now they got a lot more experience. Are you going to increase their salaries in year 2 through 4? Or year 4, year 4 and on? What will be the salaries that you would require for those positions? Well, either 0 to 1 year experience and so on and so forth. And once again, capital asset. What is the asset, and what is the cost? And what year do you think you need to incur that cost? It may not be year 1, but as you grow, you might decide that, hey, by a certain year, we need to have that capital asset acquired. So again, determine your startup cost. Do you have to pay for staff prior to opening? A lot of times we haven't made any money, but we need to get a loan or get money to pay staff in order for us to open up and then start to repay our loan or repay our savings back the money after we start making money. Do you need to make a deposit for a merchant account, right? You may need to get a merchant account, credit card account, so that you can have money to purchase products and services or things that you need to get your business running. How much is your website development? Are you going to do your own? Are you going to hire someone to create the website? Are you going to hire a different person to actually do the website insert or the actual information inside the website? Do you already have a website domain name? Things like that. So those are some costs to consider. Do you need to make a deposit for web hosting? Are you buying software licenses so you don't get caught without your shots and get sued and things like that for using some software that you hadn't got a license for? Do you have bulk mailing expenses for your business? Is that a consideration? Do you have a marketing budget? That's extremely important. And will you pay professional fees, or do you have any inspection fees required? Is there any? Was there anybody who had a question? I heard a ding, or maybe somebody just joined us. Okay.
Yeah, Ms. Strickland, yes.
Okay, great. All right. And do you have a legal expense? Do you need to hire or put a lawyer on retainer for anything, or you need someone to look over contracts or develop contracts for you. Do you have travel expenses? Maybe you have to go do some training or something, but you can write off your travel expenses, but it's important for you to adequately budget for expenses that you might need. How much are you budgeting for supplies? How much cash on hand do you have? What are your dues or subscription costs? If you're going to be participating in some type of chamber of commerce or some type of networking group or whatever, you might have dues of subscriptions. And some of this stuff, again, can be written off, but it's good to determine if you are going to take part of anything that requires a dues or subscriptions. What are your mileage costs? If you have to drive around for your business, or you might use your personal car as a business from time to time, and you have to take really good notes on what your personal mileage is versus your business mileage. Do you need to budget for conferences or networking events? Any other operating startup costs? So again, this is just determining your startup costs, and it takes a lot. And we here at Greater Wealth Works are here to work with you to brainstorm on some of that stuff. You know, you want to use your friends or your family members to think through some of the costs that you may have and determine what costs do you need versus which ones that you want. And then based on, again, your access to funds, you determine how you want to move forward. All right, so before I get to perfecting the pitch, I'm going to stop sharing this and just show you an Excel spreadsheet that's really, really engaging. I'm not going to go through all of it, but I just want to show you how you can actually put your costs on an Excel spreadsheet. This is a training spreadsheet, but this is what Office Leverage would use if they were determining what their startup costs for this training business. So it is loading, and I say, okay, you guys see it. All right, so this is the tab that says Startup tab, but even before the Startup tab, I'm going to go to the first tab, which it says Read Me, and it says this is a financial projections tool. Is a tool, a training tool, so you can see the different things that you may want to account for. And on the right-hand side, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, but it has all of the areas that are tabbed out. So many tabs here. And I'm only going to go through a couple tabs. So if I hit tab number 2, you'll see it says background. So financial projections worksheet for Office Leverage, right? And then, of course, if I want to change the name to Tierra's business or Sparkle's business, it will say workshop for your business name, Sparkle's Photography, or what have you. So again, if I wanted to, I can go ahead and put Sparkle's Photography. And if I hit enter, you'll see, well, it should change. It didn't change. For Sparkle's Photography. If I scroll up, you'll see all the different types of sales estimates. As again, we talked about what your vision, right? Week 1, we said, what is your vision for 2 to 3 years? Well, how do you get to that vision? Well, utilizing this particular tool can help you figure out a really good estimate of where you want to be in the next couple of years, based on the services that you're having, what you're going to price them out at, what will be the cost of you running that business, right? So again, if I had a chair that I wanted to sell for $100, but I bought that chair for $20 at let's say the Goodwill, then I'm going to make $80. And so this, I would put that in here as what my price, what the cost was to me, and what my gross margin would be. In this case, it would be $80, right? And then, so you will put that in there, and at some point, it will give you, for each one of the items that I might want to sell or services, it would tell you what your first year sales estimate. And if I want to do that for year 1, year 2, and year 3, you can see here where it says year 2, it will then give me a good estimate of where I want to be that I can use for my vision statement. All right. I didn't show you all this in week 1 because I want to wait till I get here to show you that you can be a little bit more specific or a little bit more as accurate as possible. Everything's a guess anyway. But this particular worksheet really helps you with that. But what I'm going to go really quickly, so I don't eat up too much of my time before I get Warren on here. I'm going to go to tab 3 where it says startup. So this is what we're talking about. I just showed you on the spreadsheet where it says, will you buy land? How much would your land cost? Will you be buying a building? How much you think your building would cost? What would you estimate? Will you be leasing space or doing any renovations? Are you buying equipment? How much are your fixtures? So I'm going to scroll up. You can see so many questions there, things that you can consider. Many of you is going to be not applicable. Many of you are not buying building. You're going to be working from home. Nevertheless, at some point, you might decide that you're ready to grow out of your home-based business, maybe get into an incubator space, such as what Greater Worth Works is at, and then move on from that into your own brick and mortar. But this is a great tool for you to always use on what you want to do, right? In terms of your startup costs. Tab number 4 is talking about, again, your monthly expenses. This might be beyond your startup costs, right? I might need to pay for permits and different things to get my business going, but ongoing, I might have to pay utilities or mortgage payment or leasing payment or leasing equipment every month. What might they be? So you can do some estimates using this skill, this Excel spreadsheet, just to think through it, right? This is not, you can't edit this. This is a teaching tool, but you can put information in there so you can kind of figure out what your expenses might be for things that you might have to pay for on a monthly basis, even variable expenses, and so on and so forth. And once again, you know, if you start to look at this tool and say, oh, it's a little confusing, you can always book time with me for me to go over with you. Going forward, there's a tab for personnel. It says 9 clocked in there, Sparkles Photography. You see that on top. Personnel tab for those that are starting up. Another one is units of sales. What do you want to sell? The different products or services, if I want to list it down, that I want to sell in January, in February, and March. So it can help you figure out how much money, but everything that you're selling can help you figure out how much you want to budget, right? All right, so that's it for that. I'm going to send you all this spreadsheet. I don't want to go too deep into it because it can be, you know, really involved, but I wanted to get you excited that you do have a tool to help you figure this stuff out, because financials is so important for your understanding. And that's why, as an added value, we included a couple of sessions that talked about your financial decision making and how you want to move with that. All right. Any questions on this spreadsheet? I'm stopping that. Any questions? And before I go back to finishing up on doing the perfect pitch. Any questions? All right. So here we go. Back to finishing up and talking about the perfect pitch. All right. So while this slide says the perfect pitch, I really don't like calling and actually the pitch is not spelled correctly. Sorry about that. I like to call it more of a conversation. Business is really personal, and many of you all want to be a hero, right? Hero for those people that you're looking to support through your product and services. So you want to be able to have a conversation with either a banker, investor, or so on and so forth, people that you want to help, and do it in a very calm, relaxing voice, maybe excited voice, but the fact that you know what you're doing is more than a pitch. It's really a conversation. So just like I mentioned on day one, when I shared the story about Casey Clayton, which I'm going to do it again, you want to be able to tell a story. What is the reason for you starting this business? What really, your empathy for folks who need your product the way you want to provide it. So all presentations should have a narrative that includes a beginning, middle, and end. Again, you are going to be going through discussing your mission, your model, your business concept, your market needs, and so forth. But it's still a story that you're telling. So the first part of your presentation should always present the problem. What is the problem that people have out there? That goes to the market need. Why are people buying these shoes that Casey Clayton wants to sell? They want to dress for the job they want, not the job they have. Some of them just have an emotional need. They want to have something that nobody else has. They want to have something that has great workmanship on it, and it's different. So the middle of the presentation should present your key findings about your business, about what type of finances, money that you can make, and the type of products that you're, why you have an advantage over your competition, or something that's more attractive. What's your concept? And then by the end of the presentation, your audience should feel that they've learned something about your industry and they learned something about you, about your heart, so that they really want to help you. They want to either, invest in you, or they want to tell somebody about your business, or they want to buy your product and services as well. As we looked at, once again, we looked at Casey Clayton. She started off with a narrative. And it says, if you want to stand out when you walk in the room, make sure your purse and your shoes speak for you. All right. That was her attention grabbing statement. What is she going to talk about? She's going to talk about shoes, or she's going to talk about purses? What's she going to talk about? The status symbol associated with designer stilettos. Oh, she's talking about shoes. Drove the luxury market past $6 billion in 2015. Wow, there's a lot of money being spent on shoes. I didn't know that. Aha. Behind this developing resurgence are working professionals, students, and homemakers. Oh, wow. I didn't know that working professionals and students were investing $300 to $1,000 in luxury brand items. Where are they getting this money? And why would they pay so much money for those shoes? Well, while the competitive field is expansive, there is room for new designers to carve niches based on the workmanship and emotional need that their brand fulfills. Oh, that's why they're spending $300 to $1,000, because they want something that has great workmanship. There's an emotional need that their brand fulfills. Casey Clayton launched I Got Your Style in 2018 with a functional Art Deco leather high heels that states when she found it and the specific product that she is selling. Her contemporary design showcase trends ranging from faux zebra accented heel to an Art Deco style boot with cutouts. With an average price of $450, an item she soon realizes $5,000 per month. And historically, the high-end price range of her product would limit her target market to wealthy consumers. So that described the product's differentiator concept. The fact that it's Art Deco boot with cutouts, and it indicates the price range and the revenue potential. However, there's a trend among working professionals to invest in brands that make them dress for the job they want, not the job they have. And it restates the target audience and the market demand. Why are they demanding this? That's the story. It was short, but it told us a whole lot about what are people buying, why they're buying it, how much money is being made, how much you can actually charge for them, and what's the driving force behind why they are needing this. So, in your presentation, you also want to keep their attention, your voice, your inflection of your voice, the fact that you are having a conversation, the fact that you're not talking too much and focusing on too much on one particular slide. You've been able to get the key points out and move on to your next slide to keep their attention. In the end, a great presentation will come down to the speaker's ability to capture the audience imagination and keep their attention. I have always been trying to do that every presentation. Make sure that I don't always stay on too much of focus on one slide, but I'll also, somewhere during the presentation, turn it over to you all, asking you all questions, right? Getting you all to talk about certain things to keep your attention and to learn something about you as well. These are things that we do. So even if you're giving a pitch presentation, you may even ask those feedback judges some questions. Hey, have you ever did this? It's okay to ask them questions and let them quickly give you some feedback, not to take up too much of your time, but it's great, a part of keeping their attention. So this is the part I love about talking about a conversation. The way you have a good conversation is by knowing your material. Every presentation needs two major components, life and energy. When you know your product and services, and you know your customers or your target audience, it's easy to maintain that life and energy in your presentation. So knowing your material thoroughly will help your presentation to flow naturally, allowing you to adjust to unexpected questions that might come up during or after the presentation. And it will help you feel comfortable when speaking in front of an audience. Comfortable, all right? So know your material. We know that in some cases, you might have your whole paragraph on a slide. And for those that are new, read every line. That's okay. You might get feedback to say, hey, next time you want to read for line, because we can do that. But this might be your first time doing it. So, hey, we give you some grace. Do what you need to do. Some of you are just going to put bullet points, bullet marks to help you read or remember what you want to talk about each bullet. That might be your strategy to keep the presentation going and flowing. And the bullet points, just like you see here, also helps you stay on point. It helps you stay focused. So, very important point. You are not pitching a great idea. You're not pitching a team or product. You are pitching what your business will solve for the customer's need. You're pitching perhaps in an opportunity for an investors to make money because there is a market need. You are having a conversation about how your business can be a hero for so many out there that need X, Y, and Z. So have a conversation about your business, what they will solve, the tangible problem that exists today. They will solve a tangible problem for the market that you're dealing with in the industry that exists today. That's what you want to pitch, have a conversation about. The top 3 mistakes is focusing on selling a cool product idea instead of the viability of the business, how great the business will be able to do because of the unique product or idea or how you're selling it or how you provide it, and the solution to a market need. So a mistake is focusing on selling a cool product idea instead of the viability of the business and solution to a market need. A mistake is taking too long to get to the pain or the problem that you are solving. We should know that in your first or maybe second slide, what the problem is for the people out there, opposed to how cool the product is that you're selling. A mistake is that you do not know the pricing or some financials or funding needs. You want to show that you know something about your financials. And that's why we kind of harped on it as well. All right. So last area real quick is 644. I know that Warren is probably joined us. Let me quickly get through. Let me see. Warren's here.
Yes.
Yep, Warren is here. So Warren, give me a couple more minutes and I'm going to turn it over to you, my brother.
That's fine.
All right. So real quick, the course review. Believe it, we are in week 5. So week 1, we talked about your business canvas. We gave you some homework. We talked about the 6 fingers. I'm going to roll through that real quickly. Week 2, we talked about 5 areas of your business executive summary, your business model. We talked about your business concept. And we want to make sure that people really can identify the differentiation between a model and a concept. Sometimes people like to put them together. Just like people say, I'm in sales/marketing. Were those 2 different things? Sales is one thing, marketing is different. Your business model is one thing, your concept is different. We talked about your market need. We talked about who is managing your business and why are they the one to do it. What are their tags, their talents, their abilities, their gifts, and their skill sets. And then we ended week 2 with talking about your target market, which was my #1 favorite session of the whole course, besides this one with Warren Galloway. And then on week 3, we talked about your competition. We talked about reference solutions or Axel reference data solutions, whatever the name is now, on how you can learn your SIT code and get information about your competition and the industry. And then week 4, we focused on your marketing objective. What do you want people to know about? What about your reputation? How are you going to market on billboards or social media? What do you want to get out of your marketing in terms of people knowing something about how an expert you are in your industry, how great your product is, what's going to be attractive about it, what's your reputation you're building, what is your marketing objective? Then we finalize week 4 with your operations, and we talked about your funding needs. How do you know what you need? Because tonight we're going to talk about the resources to get your funding, right? And then again, on Monday, you all learned more about digital marketing. We learned something about digital marketing last week, and then we kept it going on Monday. And finally, you got some tax tips from Sabrine Francis. And again, tonight, we're going to talk about micro lending and funding sources. So really quickly, again, we talked about your business canvas. You did some homework on determining who your customer is, their problem, the solution you found that they will be attracted to, and the revenue opportunity that you felt was an opportunity for you to be a hero for someone out there. We talked about, again, your 6 fingers. What is your vision? Because the first vision, mission, and values is all the platform for you determining what type of business plan you need. Where do you want to be in 2 to 3 years? What are you going to be doing in terms of your mission every single day to solve the problem of your customers? And what is your values? What is the thing that you're going to build a reputation around? Because your empathy is for those customers that you are solving their issues. What is your values they're going to walk away with? And of course, the homework was not for you to provide your objective strategies and action plans, but they are so important that after you put your business together, we're going to be working on what your objectives are to grow your business. What are the strategies we're going to put in play to support achieving those objectives? And what's going to be the action items we need to do every single day that go towards activating those strategies so that they can achieve solving your objectives. Because if we have the right actions, it's going to solve the right strategies, it's going to solve the right objectives, that's going to help us every day complete our mission, that's going to help us walk towards our vision. And it's all because of our values, our empathy of wanting to be the hero that folks need right now. Those are your 6 fingers. All right. So again, your business pitch on next week, I believe, and Janice can let me know if this is incorrect, but you should have, I think, 7 minutes. I know it says 7 to 10 minutes, but I think it's 7 minutes. Is that right, Janice?
7 minutes. Yep.
All right. So, look past, it says 7 to 10 minutes. You have, let's say, 5 to 7 minutes to pitch your business, at least up to 7 minutes to pitch your business. Again, you can add your own design, your own style to your presentation. If you want to use PowerPoint, if you want to use some other software, if you want to use, what do you call it? Those little index cards. However you want to present it, present it. But we want to make sure that you feel comfortable that everything that you've learned during this presentation allow you to easily provide answers to those executive summary profile areas. So these are the areas: business mission, business model, business concept, your market need, your business management, your competition, your target market, marketing objectives, operations, and funding needs. If you only did 7 areas because you couldn't complete the others, give us those 7 areas. If you only got 3 areas, give us those 3 areas. If you have all of them, give them all to us. But do not show up. Show up. We want to help you. This is just an opportunity for you to have experience having a conversation about your business. Because those that are going to be listening to you, and Warren has been many times, he's been one of those feedback judges. They're going to give you feedback only on what you present. They're not going to ask you about anything else. So show up and allow us to help you. Again, you all have examples of the things that Office Leverage would present, how they would present their mission statement, how they would present their business model, how they would present their business concept. And of course, they probably have bullet points instead of these paragraphs. But for some of those that may not be very comfortable with presenting, they may decide, hey, I need to read word for word. Do that. Again, Office Leverage gave you an example of their market need, an example of their tags, their management, who's going to be managing it. They gave you an example of their target market. This is one of the 3 target markets that they have. And this is a concept board. What do their target market actually look like? In this case, it's an HR training coordinator that might approve for training of Microsoft Office training. What do they look like? What do they like? What might they be loyal to? The more you know your target audience, the more you can actually design marketing material, whether it be social media marketing or relational marketing, whatever strategy or tactics. The more you know about your target market, the more you easily can market to them, get their attention, and get a yes. We gave you an example of Office Leverage competition, who they determine their competition, and more importantly, what advantage they felt they had over the competition. Not necessarily better, but maybe more attractive. It will be more attractive to their customers that they are going after. They gave me an example of their marketing objective, what they want their marketing to provide to the reader. They talked about the operations. And finally, they talked about their funding needs. At the end of your presentation, you want to give a call to action. Tell them, hey, come buy my product. Hey, share my information about my product. Hey, come invest in us. Give a call to action. And here is the Market Day pitch lineup for day 1 on this coming Monday. T, Daryl, Sadia, Tierra, Annette, and then Sparkle. We moved you out. We put KJ in your spot. So KJ will be pitching. And Jimmy, so I know you're going to find out his status. And then on Market Day number 2 on next Wednesday, we're going to have Kimberly kick off, Tavia, Renate, Venice, Tashina, and then Sparkle. You are now inserted to end the course for us. All right, so it is 6:53. I am now going to stop this, and I'm going to introduce you to not only my great friend and my frat brother. This is my brother. His name is Warren Galloway. He is way up north in Detroit, Michigan right now in his home office. He is a big shot with some lending companies, and he's a lawyer. He's been a VP of a bank, and he's just been everything. He's been everything to me, and he has really been a great resource for Greater Wealth Works. He has not only given of his time for the last 4 or 5 years, I think, but now he is an official partner of Greater Wealth Works, an official partner where he's going to be bringing a micro lending conference to Atlanta. And I'm very proud and humbled to say he's had me as host of that conference in Detroit, Michigan for several years. And I hope he continue to have me in that duty. He comes to Atlanta and everywhere else in the country that he ended up bringing this. I'm going to let him talk about his background. Warren Galloway, you have the mic, my brother. Thank you so much again for doing this for us.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Steve, for the terrific introduction. I was looking over my shoulder trying to see where is that person at. I mean, first of all, good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? Life, hello, fingers up. Everybody doing well? Okay, okay. As Steve mentioned, I've been doing this for a number of years, coming in and speaking on access to capital. A lot of people look at me as a subject matter expert when it comes to access to capital, especially when it comes to funding, non-bank funding like microloans, like CDFI loans, like community loans. This presentation that I'm going to go over with you tonight really comes from my book. And one of the things Steve didn't mention is that I've written 13 books. And one of the books that I've written is called How to Successfully Apply for a Microloan. And so I kind of use that kind of as the curriculum when I speak on this thing called Access to Capital, because I'm going to teach you how to put yourself, hopefully, in the best position to be able to get the funding that you need for your business. And it's not just, what I'm going to teach you tonight is not just for microloans. It's actually for any type of loan that you apply for, because ultimately, my assumption is that every single one of you is going to need some additional capital for your business. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you might want to carefully listen to this presentation. I believe you will get a copy of it as well. And as I always tell groups, my goal is to send you through a metamorphosis where I'm teaching you from being just a normal entrepreneur to an entrepreneur that's fully informed and ready to go out there and properly access the capital that you need for your business. So on that note, Steve, you want to bring up the presentation and then I'll get started. I think you guys have me for the next 45 to 50 minutes. Please feel free at any time to ask any questions. Because I want to make sure that once I get off of this call, that you truly understand what you need to do to be successful. So, yeah, let's get it once the presentation is on the first page, we'll get started. But you know, one of the things I like to do whenever I participate in this cohort, I like to at least know who it is that I'm speaking to. So if it's possible, can each of you introduce yourself in the name of your business? That way I can make reference to certain businesses while I give the presentation. So let's see. Let's go with Sparkle. Sparkle seems like she's ready to talk. She can go first, and then you can popcorn it to someone else.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Sparkle Hall. As I'm going back and forth in between my business names, I've narrowed it down to two, but I might present it on market day. I don't know, but I'm looking into launching a photography business,
Awesome.
focused on, starter families, new parents. My special interest will be newborn photography and stills, and so maybe some headshots, maybe some real estate, but I'm working on all those concepts and putting
Awesome.
it together. Yep.
Pleasure meeting you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Popcorn it to someone.
I gotta say other names. I popcorn it to Annette, and did I say it correctly?
And that,
Miss Moore.
thank
Yes, Miss
you. Thank you, Sparkle.
Oh,
Mhm.
also I need to see faces too. There you go.
My company is Mohue Enterprises, and it is going to be a solar farm, installing solar farm systems for utility companies and also community solar farms.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you. Pleasure meeting you. Popcorn it to the next person.
I popcorn it to Tiara.
Hi, my name's Tierra. So my camera on my laptop kind of janky, so I didn't want to, mess it up. But my picture's right there.
That's your excuse. I get it. Okay.
No,
Go ahead.
But
Cool.
my name is Tierra. I'm the founder and CEO of Horny Skin. I call my business Horny Skin because the outermost layer of the skin is called the stratum corneum, but it's also known as the horny layer. So we have a skincare and educational hub on a 40-foot pink school bus where we not only provide skincare services, but we educate the community around us on how to properly care for and protect their skin.
I love it. I've never heard of kind of a mobile service like that before. That's pretty awesome. I like the niche that you're pursuing. Awesome. Congratulations.
Kimberly.
Hello, how y'all doing? I'm actually moving. But hey, how y'all doing?
Hello.
I have a business and it's called Chemistry Creations. It's spelled with a K, both chemistry and creations. Fresh hot boiled peanuts as well as fresh pork skins and sweet treats.
That's awesome. What you know about boiled peanuts? That's what I want to know. That's
I'm from
my
Silverton, Georgia. I grew
my
up on them,
family.
pulling them up out the dirt.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, it's a pleasure meeting you.
So how you know about them?
My family from Mississippi.
Oh,
Used to eat
okay.
them growing up. Yes.
Okay. So you definitely need to try them out.
Yes, ma'am. I will. I absolutely will.
Okay. So I'm trying to see the names. I'm sorry. Is it Khalees? I don't know. I can't see the name. It's like cut off. I'm
I
sorry.
think that's correct. Khalees is her name. Yes.
Yeah, Khalees is our intern and she's listening in tonight. So she
Oh.
yeah. So she works in the background, but she's on this evening. So perhaps if it's okay with you, Miss Jackson, perhaps we can kick it over to Miss Tashina King.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for that.
My pleasure. Tashina, you're on mute.
Fine.
There you go.
Hello. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm doing two things at once. I apologize.
That's okay.
So all right. So my name is Tashina King, and
Pleasure meeting you.
thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you too, Mr. Galloway. So my company is an affiliate-driven penny auction, travel penny auction. And I'm sticking to helping nonprofit organizations raise money.
Got it. Right now, in the current environment that we have coming from DC, nonprofits do have to look for alternative type of funding now because it's going to be extremely difficult getting grant funding through the federal government. So, your services are severely needed now.
Yeah, and you know what? I used to think that all these years I've been waiting to do it, like taking my time and making sure everything was right. But I think it came out right at the right time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would agree.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure meeting you. So, and one other person, I believe, right? I'm missing someone. Who's the T? I just see T on here. And then we can get going.
Strickland?
Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Hopefully. My name is Demetrius Strickland, and yes, I am launching a life coaching, a professional life coaching business. Basically, my niche would be around like life coaching and just on various things, but mainly around recovery and anger management.
Got it. Well, it's a pleasure meeting you. Thank you. I think that's everybody. So I do appreciate the introductions.
I didn't introduce myself.
Who did I miss? Oh, yes. Hello.
I'm Renate.
Hey, Renate. Pleasure meeting you.
Same here. So again, my name is Renate Washington. I am a licensed professional counselor, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I own Refined Beginnings Counseling. And so, of course, we work with those who suffer from mental health challenges.
Got it. A pleasure meeting you. And it sounds like everyone has a business that has extreme opportunity for growth and impact. And so this presentation I'm going to give today will hopefully put you in a position to get the capital that you need, because one of the biggest reasons why businesses fail is lack of capital or being undercapitalized. And so let's go ahead and get started. And like I say, if you have any questions, we have enough time that I can answer all questions tonight. But let's go ahead and get started. Once again, my name is Warren Galloway. I am an entrepreneur, business coach, former college professor, I'm a published author, banker. I've done a lot in my 25 years on this earth. I'm young, okay? Don't be fooled by this. It's the camera, okay? But I love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do. I found myself in a position leaving corporate America banking back in, 2004. And I decided to leave banking and go into business for myself, just like each of you. Came back to Detroit from Washington, D.C. and started a small business consulting firm. And while I was supporting businesses, helping businesses get funding, I was doing housing development projects. I'm a professional business plan writer. I found that there is funding out there called microlending that not a lot of people knew about. They knew about bank loans because people always complained that banks did not lend money in the community. My goal since 2004 has been to try to change that narrative, to not focus on what you cannot access, but focus on what you can access. And that is microloans, CDFI loans, community loans, loans that programs that were put together specifically to target each of you that are on this call right now to be able to access affordable capital. We're not talking about predatory lending. We're talking about really good capital that the government, believe it or not, philanthropic community, corporate America have contributed money to provide capital to businesses so that each of you can become an economic engine in your community. And what do I mean by that? If you are properly capitalized and your business begins to grow, the ripple effect is that you'll be able to hire people from the community. And when you hire people from the community, now you've become an economic engine in your own community, and now you begin to see your communities come back. Not depend on a major bank downtown or a major corporation downtown to come into your neighborhood. No, you have this unique opportunity that if you launch your business properly, get properly capitalized, you become the economic engine in your community. I remember when I was growing up in here in Detroit, some of our old neighborhood corridors had the large department stores. And over the years, 60s, 70s, a lot of them left and left these corridors abandoned. But I tell entrepreneurs, especially ones here in Detroit, listen, you have a chance to go back to your old neighborhood and set up shop in some of those old department stores, and you become the economic engine of the community. You help your community flourish. So, but the beginning of that is you have to be properly capitalized, and that's why this thing about how to access capital, how to successfully access capital is important to me, because I think every single one of you that's on the call right now, based on the businesses that you described to me, can impact your community in more ways than one. Yes, I know we all want to become millionaires, but if you focus on your impact, a lot of these lenders want to support you. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go to the next slide. So I always start the presentation to talk about capital stacking, because a lot of people don't know what capital stacking is. Is there anyone here on this call outside of Jamise or Steve that know what capital stacking is? Take a guess. Anyone? That means no one knows what it is. Let me tell you what it is. So in this world of community lending, which is just a general topic area, it means that you have a capital need, but you use multiple funding sources to meet that capital need. What do I mean by that? Let's say, for instance, you need $50,000, but maybe you get, instead of getting one loan for $50,000, you might stack different funders, where one funder might give you $25,000 and another funder gives you $25,000, and your capital need is $50,000. Now you just capital stack your funding needs. Or maybe you got $40,000 from a lender, and then you got a grant or some other type of funding on top of that to reach your $50,000 capital need. That's called capital stacking. Or maybe you need $60,000. You got $20,000 from one lender, 20 from another lender, and 20 from another lender. Put those three together, equals $60,000. You've met your capital need. That's called capital stacking. And that's actually done pretty frequently when we talk about community lending, which is non-bank lending. So I teach people about that concept, so that if you go to a lender and they say, oh, you need $60,000, they say, hey, we can approve you for $50,000, but we might be able to do $20,000. You say, okay, let me see, can I capital stack my capital need and find other funders to meet that need? Let's go to the next slide. So here's a definition of capital stacking. I've already kind of given you that, but why would you have multiple lenders at the table? What typically happens is sometimes when you apply for funding, you don't get all the funding from that one lender that you applied for funding from, okay? And so sometimes you have to capital stack, meaning find additional lenders to stack your capital need. The other great thing is that it provides you a lot of flexibility. I tell people, when you apply for funding, you need to know what you need that funding for. If it's, and what I mean by that is, do you need a term loan, which means that you get say $50,000 and you make equal monthly payments back over a period of time? Or do you need a line of credit where you just tap into that line of credit whenever you need money for your business? You just tap into it, so you're not paying on that debt until you draw down on that line of credit? Or do you need both a term loan and a line of credit? Now, I'm going to talk about both of these later on in this presentation, but it just gives you the flexibility to mix and match different type of loan products together based upon what your needs are. Also, if you successfully pay back not one lender, but two lenders, it also improves your credit And the whole purpose of capital stacking is to ensure that you get the capital that you need so that you properly launch your business and that you're not undercapitalized, which means it supports your growth as a business. Let's go to the next slide. One of the things that you want to do, and I go over this one because it's important, because capital stacking only works as long as you let all the lenders that you're applying for funding from know that there potentially could be more than one lender at the table. Very, very important. The reason why that's important is in the community lending world, micro loans, CDFI loans, is relationship based. And they build, you can get funding based on them believing in your business and what impact that you could have. Okay. It's not always based upon your credit report. Sometimes it's like, listen, this is a business we need to support because she will be impactful in the community and she will hire people from the community. Micro lenders and community and CDFI lenders, they love business owners that are impactful in the community. So you're building trust. So the last thing you want to do is apply for funding from multiple lenders and not mention those respective lenders to each other. And then just before you close on your loan, they run your credit one last time, is what lenders typically do. And they see that you close on another loan. Guess what? The loan that you just applied for and was trying to close on, they're not going to approve it for you because you went out and got funding from somebody else and didn't tell them. So it's all about relationship, communicating to the lenders that, hey, I need more money than what you're providing, or I need a different loan product. So note, I'm putting an application in over here as well. And as long as they're on notice, you're perfectly fine. And then the other thing too is, it's called lien position. Lenders need to know who's going to be at the table so they can discuss among themselves lien position. Who's going to have first lien on your business? Typically, it's determined who has the larger amount of the loan. And so they need to know who else is at the table so they can get together themselves and talk about lien position. Let's go to the next slide. Here, I said community lending. Community lending typically consists of micro lending, CDFI, nonprofit lending, and I put small business lending there as well because sometimes they have different small business loan products that are out there. Typically, in the past, to get SBA lending, you had to go to a financial institution, a bank. But now we have a lot of CDFIs, we have a lot of nonprofits now that do SBA lending. So don't necessarily have to go to a bank, but community lenders like CDFIs and nonprofits and micro lending, those are individual organizations that have funding specifically to lend to each of you, your type of businesses, so that you can become economic engines in your community. Let's go to the next slide. I put on here, what is business banking? Business banking is really just a small business loan from a financial institution. I mentioned earlier, when I first kind of got into this micro lending industry, I often heard people say, banks do not lend money. And my response always is, then why go to banks? if you don't think they're lending money, and they could not be doing it, or they might have higher criteria for whatever reason that you can't meet, or there might be some biases going on out there. My thing always is, if I need the money, then I need to find alternative sources of lending, not predatory lending, alternative sources of lending. Now, fast forward many years later, we have many incredible options for you to pursue funding for your business outside of a bank. Now, there are some banks that have created some special programs where their loans are similar to a microloan, but you have so many options now that you're not limited to a bank. So never accept the fact that you do not believe someone will lend to you, because there are lenders out here who will lend to you. But banks traditionally, if you get a microloan or a CDFI loan and you pay it off you potentially could go back to a bank and get a loan because now you have a track record of getting funding for a business and successfully paying it back. Let's go to the next slide. And we can go ahead and skip this one. I kind of covered this already. When you get a copy of this deck, I do put some lenders on here, but there could be a whole lot more. What is a CDFI? It actually stands for Community Development Financial Institution. And what that means is it is a nonprofit that applies for funding from the government, and the government gives them money to lend in the community. So they're called CDFIs, Community Development Financial Institutions. So that's what that means. You guys will have a list of some lenders that might lend to your businesses. This is not an exclusive list because there are many more organizations, but it give you a feel for the type of organizations that you need to look for. Next slide. Microloans. So let's talk about this thing called microloans. Now, does anyone on this call know what a microloan is? I made it real easy for you to know what one is because the definition is here on the screen. Anybody want to take a shot? Now, this is an interactive presentation now.
Is it like a short-term loan?
What's that?
Is it like a short-term loan?
Sort of, kind of. Let me go ahead and define it then. Let me help you out here, help everybody out. Typically, microloans, as described by the SBA, typically it is a loan that's $50,000 or less. It has flexible underwriting criteria. It can be used for working capital, inventory, furniture, machinery, build out. But the key to it is the flexible underwriting criteria. Typically, microlenders do not have underwriting criteria similar to banks because their goal is a microlender is to get money into the community. So I mentioned earlier that microlenders and CDFI lenders, they don't have the typical strict underwriting criteria. Some of them might not even utilize your credit as a determining factor. And for instance, Jamise probably could tell you a little bit later, but Greater Wealth Works is a trustee of a microlender called Kiva, where you can borrow up to $15,000 at 0% interest. You hear me? 0% interest. All you do is pay back the principal. And so if you're interested in that particular loan, Jamise is on this call, contact her after this call and say, hey, I want to learn a little bit more about Kiva. So microloans are really unique and special loans that were created to fund business owners like yourselves. And we'll talk a little bit more about it. Let's go to the next slide. We talk about microloans, but there are some other ways to fund your business as well. And when we talk about capital stacking, it could be a microloan, it could be a grant, but you could use a crowdfunding platform like GoFundMe. People only think of crowdfunding platforms when someone passes away for some reason, because people go on to GoFundMe to raise money to help bury loved ones. But crowdfunding can also be used to raise money for your business. Pitch competitions. Hey, pitch competitions are a really great way to raise money for your business. I'm in the Atlanta area. I'm sure there are plenty of pitch competitions that take place. Give you a chance to win all kinds of money. We have one here in Detroit called Comerica Hatch Detroit. It's a pitch competition. You know how much the winner gets? $100,000. $100,000 that you do not have to pay back. So pitch competitions are a real good way to win money for your business. Now, are you going to win all the time? No. You might not win after your first 10 times, but trust me, you will get better and better and better. And then you're going to find yourself winning pitch competitions. I remember I used to work for an incubator called Tech Town Detroit. And when I first started, I had to coach someone on their pitch competition. And she was pitching to an organization called Michigan Women Forward. And I remember coaching her and seeing her pitch her business in this auditorium in front of these judges. And by the time we left that afternoon, she had won $10,000. She does not have to pay it back. So please utilize pitch competitions. Personal equity, it's always great to have skin in the game. So most lenders want you to have some skin in the game. What that means is how much money will you put into your business? A lot of them will want you to put 5% of what your capital need is, 10%. Traditional banks might say 20%. So it varies. And that's one of the questions we're going to talk about that you're going to ask a lender later on when I go over the steps to applying for funding. You're going to ask them how much personal equity you have to put into the business. I think I just saw a question come through, where to find pitch competitions. To be honest with you, just Google pitch competitions in your community and they will pop up. You'll be surprised. Investors can also be another way to leverage funding for your business. I have credit cards in here. I do not recommend credit cards because of the interest rates, but there have been some businesses that used it to get some initial capital. In some states, they have what they call hiring incentives and tax credits. Hiring incentives meaning that if you hire a certain population of people to work for you, i.e. The disabled, low income, returning citizens, seniors, youth, there's special programs in your city, your state, your county, your state, whereas if you hire these population of people, they might do what they call on-the-job training, where someone can come work for you for 30, 60 days, and you don't pay the salary because the program pays the salary. And that's money on to your bottom line that you don't have to spend because you're willing to look at a pool of candidates to work for you from an agency that was willing to cover their costs for the first 30 to 60 days. Tax credits. Tax credits, if you hire, once again, some of that same population, you don't see the benefit on the front end, but you will see it on the back end. And so those tax credits can add up. And then finally, banks are still at the table, but you just need to find out, are you in a position to apply for a bank loan? So there are other options other than microloans and CDFI loans that are out there to help fund your business. So when we talk about capital stacking, it's really a combination of all of these funding mechanisms to help you fund your business. Let's go to the next slide. Here, just some additional funders here. You keep going and you'll get a chance to read who they are when you get a copy of this presentation. Steve, have they gotten this already or they're going to get it after today?
They're
They're
gonna
going to
receive
get it tonight.
Okay, awesome. So it is 7:25 and you can go to that last slide, Steve. Now, if you have not been listening to me tonight, this is when you want to lift your head up and listen. This is going to be the most important slide in this deck. This is where I'm going to teach you the steps that I created to identify the right lender for your business. One of the things that entrepreneurs have a problem with is that whenever they need money, they feel as if they're at the whim of the lender. The steps we're going to go through right now, you're going to take full control of this loan process. You're going to empower yourself so that when you do go out for some funding, that you're going to apply for funding from the lender that's a fit for you and can provide you a loan product that is best for your business. And I think by understanding these concepts, you're less afraid to apply for funding because you're going in, and these are literally questions that you're going to ask other lenders, and it will help you determine which lender is best for you. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's do the first one. And I talked about this early on. Do you need, number one, do you need a line of credit or do you need a term loan? So typically, you need a term loan if you're doing build out, if you're buying large machinery, if you need, well, those are probably some of the biggest things for you. A line of credit is when you need that, you have costs, but you don't incur those costs immediately, sometime down the line. And we're talking about working capital. And I'll talk about working capital on number 10 as well. But typically, if you need working capital, meaning that in the beginning, when you officially launch your business, or when you open your business, your expenses are going to exceed your revenue for a while. And so if your expenses are exceeding your revenue, the question is, well, how am I going to pay people if I'm constantly losing money? That's when you need something called working capital, which is typically a line of credit. What does that mean? Say you need $100,000 to open your business. Say you need $80,000 for build out, to buy furniture, to get the signage for your business. Maybe you have a restaurant, you need to get a liquor license, and that's what you're going to use the term loan for. But you know that once you open your doors, there are going to be other expenses, i.e., utilities, i.e., supplies, i.e., you got to pay your employees, because as I mentioned, it's going to take a while before your revenue will exceed your expenses. Now, most people are not going to have $50,000 sitting in the bank to cover their costs until they become profitable. So how do you cover your costs? That's where you combine number 1 and number 10 on this list together. That's when you need working capital. So I tell entrepreneurs, when you go into a bank, you always want to get working capital. You get one shot to apply for your funding. And once you get that funding, you have to start paying it back. If you do not get the right amount of funding or the right funding product up front, you cannot come back a month later and say, oh, I need some additional money. No, they're going to say, listen, we got to first see if you're going to pay back this first loan. So what's important is when you take a look at your costs in determining how much you need, what do I need to equipment and furniture or build out or signage, that term loan. But then instead of getting a term loan covering employee costs, salaries, or covering utilities, or covering supplies, I'm just going to hold off and get a working capital line of credit. Why is that beneficial? With a term loan, when you close on that loan, you're going to start making payments typically, and there are exceptions, I'm going to talk about that. 30 days after you close on a loan, you start paying equal monthly payments for 30 to 60 months. That's what a term loan does. With a line of credit, they're going to approve you for that line of credit and say, go back to the example I had before, say you need $100,000 and you get a term loan for $60,000. And so you think, oh, I need $40,000 to help me out with working capital. Well, really you don't. Maybe you need $15,000 or $20,000 line of credit, but you're not going to utilize it until your business opens. Now, when your business opens, then these costs you start incurring these costs, you can tap into that line of credit. But the beauty of it is that as you tap into this line of credit and you pay it back, it becomes available again. So I mentioned you need $60,000 for a term loan and $40,000 for working capital. But then I said, well, maybe you really only need $15,000, $20,000, because with that line of credit, you're only going to utilize it when you need it, and then you're going to pay it back down. That means you can use it over and over again. As long as you use it, pay it off, use it, pay it off, you can use that line of credit for $15,000 and use it 4 or 5 times, and you might get $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 worth of use out of it because you are disciplined in using that line of credit and paying it off. What are the benefits of having a line of credit? 1, the flexibility of accessing capital whenever you need it, but 2, you do not incur that additional debt until you need to tap into that line of credit. And so I'm always giving customers strategies to not pay on too much debt. Be smart and only use the line of credit for working capital type of things. That way, when you close that term loan for $60,000, instead of getting $100,000 to cover everything, you got $60,000, and that's what you're paying back on a monthly basis. And you're only going to pay back on that line of credit whatever it is that you use. So it's managing your debt and not being too heavy with debt. And that's why it's important to know how much of a line of credit you need for working capital, and how much of a term loan you need. Number two. So number one, remember, you're gonna ask. So this is important. When you sit down with a lender and you know you need just a term loan, and that lender starts to describe their products to you, and they say, "Oh, we're going to do lines of credit," do you continue meeting with that lender? No, because they don't offer the product that you need. Okay, so then you go to the next lender. Maybe the next lender, they provide a term loan, and you'd be like, "Perfect, I need a term loan." Or maybe they provide a line of credit. You say, "Perfect, I'm going to apply." Or maybe they offer both. Maybe you need both products. Do not waste time with a lender that does not offer you the product that you need for your business. If you start talking to them about their loan products and they don't have a product that fits your need, thank them and say, "Hey, unfortunately, you don't offer the product that I offer, but I do appreciate you talking to me." And you want to maintain that relationship because your financial needs could change at any time. So you want to be able to go back to them. Number two, the type of business they will lend to. So one of the questions you want to ask the lender is, "Hey, do you lend to my type of business?" I.e., maybe you're a restaurant, okay, and you go see a lender, and the lender say, you tell the lender, "Listen, I'm interested in applying for a loan from you, but I just need to know, will you lend to a restaurant?" And they might say, "Unfortunately, we don't focus on restaurants. We don't lend to restaurants." Once again, you say, "Thank you. I appreciate you telling me." You maintain a relationship and you move on. Go to another lender, and they say, "Yes, we lend to restaurants, but our portfolio is just too heavy on restaurants." Don't get upset. That doesn't mean they won't lend to you now. It means some lenders will stop lending if their portfolio gets too heavy in one industry. Don't look at it as a no. Look at it as if, "Oh, well, thank you. I'll go to another lender. If I should need a loan from you in the future, I'll come back and see if you will lend to my restaurant." And then you find a lender that says, "Hey, in Michigan, we have a lender called the Michigan Good Food Fund. They lend to food-based businesses. So if you're a restaurant, you will go to them and say, 'Hey, I'm going to need funding for my restaurant.' And they would say, 'You're the type of business that we lend to.' So you got to find out from that lender, do they lend to your type of business? And or if they do lend to your type of business, are they lending to your type of business now? Because if the portfolio is too heavy in one type of industry, they will stop lending for a while until that portfolio of that industry is paid down. Next is the amount that you need. One of the things I didn't mention is that typically micro lenders are $50,000 or less. They lend up to $50,000. CDFI lenders typically lend more than $50,000 but less than the bank. And every bank has their minimum threshold, but a lot of CDFIs lend up to $250,000, $300,000, maybe a little bit more. So if you need $100,000, and this is a question for everyone, based on what I've talked about, if you need $100,000, should you go see a micro lender?
No.
Why not?
Micro lenders only typically do like $50,000 or less.
Right, but what was the
Smaller
very first concept that I talked about? Capital stacking. Remember that?
Yes, capital stack. I call it compounded stacking. Yes.
Yeah. So why not go see a micro lender if your capital need is 100,000, their max is 50? Maybe you might have to capital stack your loan. Maybe a lender won't give you 100,000, but a micro lender might give you 50,000. Then you go to another micro lender, they might give you another 50,000. Boom, you just met your capital need of 100,000. So even though that 100,000 is the minimum amount that you need to properly fund your business, it doesn't mean that you have to go straight to a lender that only lends to 100,000. Micro lenders might have better underwriting criteria to get the money to you faster. So instead of going to that one lender for 100,000, you capital stack and go to two lenders. Is it Tara? You have your hand up?
Yes. So quick question. So let's say you do the capital stacking. would that be based off of your business credit, or would that be up under your personal? How would you be able to do that without having a business credit portfolio established?
So every lender is different. The ideal situation is that you hopefully have been in business long enough and have built business credit so that if you apply for funding, they won't look at your personal credit. Everything will be secured up under your business credit. But the reality of it is a lot of people have not built up business credit. Maybe it's a new business or they just haven't been in business long enough. So you're probably going to have to personally guarantee that loan with that lender with your personal credit. But the ideal situation is that you get a Dun and Bradstreet number in the very beginning. You try to get your loans or when you buy supplies, get the supplies under the name of the business. Have that repayment information sent to your Dun and Bradstreet profile over the next 2 to 3 years. And then hopefully, if you need more capital, you can come back and say, hey, I want to use my business credit. And they say, oh, well, I see you have you have a number of business credit items in your history. We can utilize the business credit versus your personal credit. But in the beginning, unfortunately, you're going to have to personally guarantee any type of loan for your business. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yes.
What is a DUNS number? A DUNS number is kind of like the Social Security number for a business. You would go to an agency called Dun and Bradstreet, and you can apply for it. Not apply. It's not really an application. You just go in and say, you can Google and say, hey, how to apply for a DUNS number. And it should give you the link. You go in there, fill out the information, and you get this number from them. And it's kind of like your Social Security for your business. Sparkle?
Yes. Can you speak on taking out maybe a credit card for a business under your business, your EIN?
Mm-hmm.
And is there such thing as having the application based off of your projected income versus your real income? And I asked this question because I attended InvestFest and I met a lender, and he said that I can apply under and I can state my projected income, but I did not necessarily get approved for the app, the credit card that I was applying for. So do you know anything, or can you speak on that?
Every lender is different. And did he suggest that you apply for a business credit card versus a personal credit card?
Yes, it was a business credit card.
Got it. I mean, if he recommended that you put, projected income, and they don't ask for verification, then it's okay with his lender. I'm just not sure why they turned you down if you did base it on your projected income. Now, when it comes to applying for a microloan or a CDFI loan, and it's a startup business, it's your business, your approval is solely based upon projected revenue for your business because you don't have a track record. But when it comes to that credit card, only he would know how that process worked, and that's why he said it put projected. Now, I'm not sure why they turned you down because it sounds like you did exactly what he asked you to do. But every lender is different. But definitely with microloans and CDFI loans for startup businesses, it's all based on your projected revenue.
Okay, thank you.
Got it. Let's keep going. Number 4. This once again, you turn all of these into questions. You're going to take this page and you're going to turn to questions, and then when you sit down with a lender, you're going to ask each one of these, and it will determine whether or not you apply for funding from that lender that you're in front of. Next is geographic location. Some lenders only lend to businesses in the Atlanta city proper. If your business is in the suburb and is not in the city of Atlanta, you might not be able to get that funding. You need to ask that question. Will they lend to where your business is located? Whether you're a brick and mortar or whether you're a home business, will they lend to your business? If they say, we only lend to businesses that are in the city proper, then you stop right there, thank them, and move on and go to the next lender. Number 5, some loans and my assumption is this is going to change because what has transpired since our 40, oh, he's not 45, but our president get back into office. There are a lot of loan funds out here that are based upon your ethnic, race, nationality, or gender. I use Michigan as an example because we have Michigan Women Forward, which is an organization that was established to support women-owned businesses. Now, they will lend to a few men, but their mission is to support women-owned businesses. So you might, there's a lender out there, a micro lender, a CDFI lender that lends based on ethnic, race, nationality, or gender, and you fall into one of those categories, you have a good chance of getting that funding. The other thing too, number 6 is collateral or not. What does that mean? That means that if you don't know what collateral is, when you apply for a loan, like a car loan, your car is used as collateral. Okay, that's what collateral is. Whatever the money that you receive to purchase that item, the item is put up as collateral. So if you don't pay them back, they can take that item back from you. Most lenders want you to put collateral up, and it varies from lender to lender what they will take as collateral, i.e., if you're doing a brick and mortar and you're buying equipment, you're buying furniture, they probably will allow you to put those things up as collateral because the money is being used for those things. Sometimes people put up savings accounts. Sometimes people put their car up. When you meet with a lender, it's important that you ask them upfront, do they require collateral and what kind of collateral will they take? Number 7, we talked about this earlier, percentage of personal equity. You have to have skin in the game when it comes to a lender. Most micro lenders and community lenders, CDFI lenders, want you to have at least 5% invested in the business. Or someone might want 10%. If you've already put that money into your business, make sure you have a paper trail that when they ask, well, how much personal equity do you have in the business? You can bring in all those receipts and say, hey, here's $10,000 worth of receipts showing the money that I put into the business. And they should be perfectly fine with that. Number 8, business plan required or not. Majority of these loan programs out here want you to have a business plan because it is your roadmap. It is your roadmap to how you're going to operate your business. And they need to see it. They need to see in writing what your plans are for your business. More importantly, they need to see the financial projections for your business. Is your business going to be successful over the next 3 to 5 years? Now, most micro lenders and CDFI lenders only need 3 years of financial projections. But if you go to a traditional financial institution, they want to see 5 years. So keep that in mind. So ask the lender, do you require a business plan? And probably majority of them will require one. Number 9 is important because I mentioned early on in the conversation, this presentation, that most loans, once you get approved, you make your first payment 30 days after the money is dispersed to you. But here are some exceptions. And this is important for you to know because I've seen some business owners that did not ask this question and they were doing a build out of a retail space. And they closed on the loan. They were excited about getting approved, getting the funding for the loan. They drew down on the loan, did the build out. And then 30 days, well, I'm not even going to say they finished it. 30 because they built out might have been 3 to 4 months doing the build out of their space. But 30 days after they closed on that loan, they begin to build out, they get a notice in the mail, their first payment is due. And they panic because, what do you mean my first payment is due? What is the problem if they ask for a payment 30 days after you draw down on the loan? Anybody know? Take a shot.
Is it like a net 30 or?
My question is, if you are doing a build out and it's going to be 3 to 4 months before the build out is done, and you have to make your first payment in the first 30 days, what is the problem? It's a big problem.
They
The business.
They didn't ask for more time until
They didn't ask for more time. Right. They don't have any money because guess what? They're doing the build out. Okay. So you are paying back on the loan and your business is not generating revenue because you needed it's going to be open 3 to 4 months down the road. So you have to ask up front, when is that first payment due? If they say 30 days after you close on a loan and you know that your business will not be generating for money for another 2 to 3 months after that 30 days, you want to ask them, okay, is it possible? Do you offer a grace period? What a grace period is, instead of paying back your loan in 30 days, they give you 3 to 4 months before making your first payment. Or they say, listen here, you don't have to make your first payment until your business opens. Or they might say, we don't give grace periods, but we will give you 3 to 6 months of interest-only payments. Now, interest-only payments typically are really small, okay? And so you'd be like, okay, that's good. I can do interest-only payments because it's a real small amount. Or some of them would say, listen, we'll give you 3 to 6 months on the grace period. And then after that, even after you open your doors, we'll give you another 3 months of interest-only payments. So, but if you don't know what they ask for, then you don't know there are other options out there for you in terms of repayment. So number 9 is critical for you to know. Number 10, I'm gonna skip that because we talked about that on number 1. Number 11, we talked about that in the very beginning, capital stack. We're gonna skip that as well. Number 12 is credit criteria. You can ask your lender what is the credit criteria up front so that you know before you even submit your application whether you meet that criteria. Okay, so ask what is the credit criteria. And then the last 2 here, and trust me, this page right here is going to be critical to you getting your funding if you follow it. The last 2 are important. 13 is customer service. 14 is interest rate. Do you notice something that's very odd about this checklist? I have interest rate at 14. What's interesting about it being number 14? Anybody recognize that? Before today's presentation, what's the first question you always ask a lender about?
What's the interest?
What's the interest rate? You notice I don't have you ask about the interest rate until 14 steps later. And that's strategic. Okay. The reason is that there's so many other important things before you even really need to ask the question about the interest rate. That's one of the last things you want to do. Then, because if you go by the interest rate, you might miss out on an important loan product or the best loan product for you, because they might say for instance, I'm not sure what the micro lender interest rates are down in your area, but say they're 7 or 8%. The banks might be about 4 or 5, but micro lenders and CDFI lenders take on greater risk. So it's not predatory lending, it's slightly higher. Now, if someone talking about it's going to be 15, 16%, that's predatory. Okay. If they told you, if you asked a question about interest rate up front, you'd be like, oh, that's too high. I want to get 4% like a bank. But you're not applying at a bank. So you can't get that 4 or 5% because unless you go with Kiva, and that's when you're going to talk to Jamise, you can get about $15,000 at 0% interest. She can tell you about that. Okay. But most micro lenders, their interest rates are going to be a little bit higher because they take on a greater risk than banks. And that's okay. Okay, because if you get that micro loan or a CDFI loan, you successfully pay it back, you might be able to go to a bank and get a lower interest rate. So it's okay to pay a little bit more. We're going to give you this example, and this is how I'm going to end tonight. I'm using the pandemic as an example why you should not focus on the interest rate. Really, you should focus on customer service first and then the interest rate. And I'll give you this example. During the pandemic, before the pandemic started, I had some business owners who went to a couple of lenders, and the first lender they went to, the loan officer was phenomenal. They loved that loan officer, but the interest rate was 8%. And they say, okay, oh, this is great. This is great, 8%. They go to another lender, micro lender, CDFI lender. The relationship was not as great as it was with the first one. The person was very direct, methodical, didn't smile, but the interest rate was 7%. And you're like, okay, Okay, I like the first person, but I'm gonna go with the lower interest rate, that's 7% versus 8%. Even though you had a great relationship with that first person, where we ran into some problems during the pandemic is that when the pandemic hit, and everybody went through it, so you remember what it was like when the pandemic hit. Those who had a loan with the individual who gave great customer service, but the interest rate was 8%, that loan officer was calling the business owners saying, "Listen here, our lenders, my supervisors at my loan company said, listen here, we understand a pandemic is going on. You don't have to pay your loan back for the next 6 months. I'm gonna watch out for you." Whereas that other lender who had a slightly higher rate, who didn't really provide really good customer service, but it was lower interest rate, that you were calling out and they were not responding to your call. And so you're panicking like, "Oh, how am I going to pay my loan back because everything is shut down?" So the difference between that loan officer who provided great customer service and the other person who really didn't provide good customer service, it made a difference in terms of your business during that pandemic, because the service was the difference between the interest rate, but you wanted a lower interest rate. If you had gone with the 8%, you would have been in a better position at the start of the pandemic versus going with that 7%. Stop right there. Done with my presentation. Any questions? It's a lot of information. I know you guys have some questions.
They're speechless. Oh, wait. There she goes. Okay.
Oh, I know you said that we have to determine how much funding we need, like basically off of build outs and stuff like that. So what, based off my business, I wouldn't need any funding for a build out. So what would be like a range that you think that I should look for getting?
So there's no way for me to be able to tell you that tonight. It should be in your business plan. Do you have a business plan?
Well, we're working on it with this course.
Got it. So as you work on your financial projections, you should be able to get a feel for what your needs are. But really, you're gonna have to, as you work on this, you gotta sit back and think, okay, what of all my expenses? What do I need funding for upfront to sustain this business until I can get it profitable? And that's something that you're gonna have to determine, because you're gonna know your costs, your product costs, your service costs, whatever. You're gonna know all those things. And I'm sure, I'm assuming, Steve, you're working with them. You can give them guidance as well.
We actually kicked off the class tonight talking about expenses. I mentioned that there are 4 expenses. You got your startup expenses, monthly expenses. You may have some assets that you are going to need to get, funding for. So tonight's class was kicked off talking about and actually showing an Excel spreadsheet on researching what expenses you might need now or into the near future. So that's an excellent question. And that's the reason why you need to know what you need so that you can go after certain funding to cover those needs. But a great question to you.
Yeah, very much so. And typically I tell people, determine what you need up front and then think about how much you need for working capital. And typically working capital can be 3 to 6 months of expenses. And so once you do your financial projections, and you're going to figure out what you need up front, but then on top of that, you take a look at what are your expenses with 3 to 6 months, and that's what you want to ask for working capital.
And they may even ask you what you're going to need the money for. So you may have to, itemize what you expect to spend on with using the money. Whether you ultimately use it for those expenses or not, you need to be prepared to address those needs.
Yeah, and keep in mind, if you apply for a working line of credit, tell them, listen here, I will only tap into it when I need those expenses are incurred. And then I'll draw down on that line of credit, I'll pay it back off. And then if I have more working capital expenses, I'll tap back into it again. So explain to them that because I'm about debt management, and I tell entrepreneurs that sounds good when you're talking to a lender. You're telling them how you're managing your debt, that you're kind of informed about this process. So lenders like to hear that. That makes them give them warm fuzzies. Oh, she understand what working capital is.
And Warren, you probably addressed this. I probably didn't hear it because I was multitasking. But you normally ask them a question saying, "What if you got approved for $100,000? Would you take that $100,000 at whatever percentage rate, or would you rather take only what you need?" Did you mention that question today?
Well, I didn't. When I was talking about working capital, I did kind of talk about that because part of it is determining what you need for your term loan, and then what is it that you don't need now that you could put into a line of credit that you could tap into when you need it.
Because if you take the $100,000 because you feel like, hey, I don't know if I'm going to get this opportunity again, so I'm going to take this $100,000, and you're paying interest on it versus taking only what you need and only paying interest as you draw down on stuff. A lot of times people kind of feel like, hey, I've never had a $100,000 loan before. I feel like I need to take it because something might happen and I might not get approved for so much. But if you take that $100,000, you're paying 15, 20% on it. You think you're going to put what you're not going to use right now into the bank, but what are you earning? 3%, 2%, and you're paying 20%, right? And so I want to make sure, again, since I didn't hear it, I want to make sure that people realize the logic in only drawing down what you need, because if I think I'm going to draw down, I'm going to take a whole big loan and be paying interest on that big loan versus you actually taking that big loan and only making a certain amount of percentage, 2%, 3%, 5%, while it's in your savings account, that's backwards, and you will be losing. So,
very much so, very much so. Any other questions? Now you only have me for a few more minutes. Now you got me for 2 more minutes. Now let me get the questions.
Because I kind of wanted to wait for someone else, but I have another one if no one else has.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I did take out some personal loans with Navy Federal. I bank with Navy Federal, and I took out maybe I think 2, and I'm almost done paying those off. Do you think that they would give me a business loan based off of my relationship that I've already built with them?
Absolutely, and I think I believe Navy Federal Credit Union might even offer some small business lending. You might want to check with them because sounds like you have a great payment history with them. Start with them and see what they offer. And then with the credit unions, they're for the members. Typically, your interest rate are lower than traditional banks. So I mentioned these micro lenders, but check with your credit union because a lot of credit unions now are doing small business lending, and they have better rates because they keep their interest rates down because you are a member. So yes, absolutely go back to them.
Okay, thank you.
Now, if they don't offer small business loans, it's okay. But you have a great payment history. So when you go speak to the other micro lenders and CDFI lenders, they'll see that you have a great payment history, which puts you in a much better position to get approved for what you need for your business.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? I always joke it's going to cost at 8 o'clock. It's going to cost you $300 an hour to talk to me. You got a minute. I'm just kidding.
I was just about to mention it. He's a very expensive guy, so you really want to make sure you take advantage. They have no idea. I really appreciate Warren, you coming out once again.
Yes.
You all will get a copy of tonight's presentation, my presentation that I normally provide, as well as this presentation from Warren. You all can find Warren once again on warrengalloway.com. Again, you'll see his background. You'll see some videos and some pictures if you scroll down through his website. I know that he is open to address any questions that you might email him for a certain amount of time. Please take advantage of that. And then again, I'm sure Jamise is going to let everyone know once we do have the micro lending conference, there will be some opportunities to pitch your business at that conference. You'll have another opportunity to win money. And one of the things that Warren and I did in the Detroit conference is while people who actually pitched their business, that was actually there to pitch their business, while we waited on the results of that, we walked around the audience and had people stand up and we had them pitch their business while we're waiting for the winner, and they got money. Just being ready to pitch. Right? Getting ready to have a conversation in business. So always be ready, because when you're in a room with business folks, there's always someone who are interested in supporting your business. So be ready for that.
Yeah. And don't forget Jamise, she has access to a 0% small business loan. So you can't get no better than that.
All right, Warren, once again, I really, really appreciate your
Thank
time
you.
tonight,
Thank
as
you so much.
always. Once
you.
again, Warren is a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. He's one of my big brothers. He was involved in the fold before I got in, and once we met over 30 years ago. He was actually at my wedding 32 years ago. It'll be 33 years ago this year. And so we've been super close, and I'm always learning from him, and I really appreciate him wanting me to partner with him to bring you all resources and opportunities to grow and educate yourself, build your business muscle. So again, Warren, thank you so much for
Not a problem.
and I look forward to you being here in Atlanta in the not too distant future. And I know Jamise and you have been meeting on Wednesdays. I haven't been able to join most of the meetings, but I know a lot of great stuff is happening on behalf of everyone that's online right now.
Very much so. Thank you, everyone. I truly enjoyed tonight, and let me know if you have any other questions. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna finish
Good night,
up the
everyone.
last couple of slides
Thank
here.
you.
You're welcome. Take care.
So as a recap, again, just like Tiara asked about, and Warren